Hello, how are you doing? Okay, so one of the main questions that I get week one is, what am I supposed to be posting and how does this all fit in if I already have an Instagram, I already have a good following, I'm already doing something, I just want to shift, pivot, or get better. What am I supposed to be posting during this time? So let's talk about it. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to have a little roadmap PDF for you to actually follow with this, but I want to explain it so you understand what I'm talking about. We're going to be taking the themes of every single week and we're going to be using them as foreshadowing for our launch. So what we want to do is have a really hot, ready to buy audience when we start. We don't want a cold audience. We don't want to show up the very first day and be like, buy my shit. That turns people off in a major way, right? Think of it like we're dating. Yeah, we're going on the apps. What are we doing? We're not sending dick pics, okay? No dick pics here. That's not what we're doing. We're getting to know someone. We're meeting them for coffee. We're talking to them. We're getting to know them before we pitch, right? So how do we do that? We're going to start talking about all of the themes of every single week. So if you're wondering, what the fuck am I supposed to be posting until we get later on in the actual launch schedule of what we're going to actually be launching, what we're doing here is we're building trust. So if you have a brand new account, you're like, what do I even talk about? I'm not sure. I'm not ready with my product. This is what we're going to be talking about. We're talking about in week one about these values, about the things that matter. So every single week, whatever you're diving into, that's what we're going to start talking about. And not in a salesy way. We're just explaining to them who we are, what our values are, and giving them a glimpse of ourselves. Because it's a personal brand, we're not just saying, here's everything about me. No, we're curating it to match the brand, as we've been talking about. So all of these modules are getting you ready for what you're going to be saying. And this builds on itself like compound interest, right? You're not going to only talk about your values in week one and then never again. You do that all the time. I do that all the time. How do I do this? I post things about my values, actually speaking about it. I do behind the scenes stuff that demonstrates it. I talk about client wins and it shows, the things that I value are self-expression. So I tell stories about how I help people find that. I tell stories about how I help people grow their business and find their confidence. I keep doing these things behind the scenes instead of just sitting there and being like, these are my values, take it or leave it. No, we're easing in, we're showing them who we are. We don't have to show every part of us, but we're showing, here's the values of the business. Here's the things that we care about, and we're showing it, we're demonstrating it through our content and what we're saying. So as we go through, whatever the theme of the week is, that's what you're posting. If you have specific questions about like, how do I do that for my exact thing? That's what our Voxer is for. Come in, let me know, hey, I want to post something about this value and I'm not really sure how to do it. We can brainstorm it. That's what we're doing. So make sure every week as you're posting, we're going through, obviously we want to do that. We want some foreshadowing. We don't want people, when you finally come to this is the thing, please buy it. We don't want them to be shocked and be like, what the fuck? That came out of nowhere. We want them to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I want to buy that. So for instance, while we're doing this live, this is a secret for those of you in round one, don't tell anyone because it hasn't been launched yet. So I have been doing this. So I am launching a podcast. I haven't told anyone yet, not even a soul. So you guys, seriously, keep it under wraps if you're in week one. But I have been posting pictures with this microphone. I have been sharing things about podcasting. I've been sneaking it in. I've been talking about how sharing my voice is important to me. And I have been doing this for about 2 weeks now, just like dropping it into what I'm doing. Nobody knows what I'm talking about yet, but it goes because people are like, oh yeah, of course she wants to use her voice. Oh yeah, look at that cool microphone. Oh yeah, of course she like does this. And of course my podcast will be on video too, because video is my thing. But nobody's going to be shocked when I come out with it. They'll be excited, but nobody's going to be shocked because I've been leading up to it. Everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, that tracks. That's obviously the next right step for Stephanie. Because I've been talking about it, because I've been leading up to it, because I've been showing it as a value of mine, because I've been explaining about it, because I've been talking about how sharing stories and uplifting people and helping people is so fucking important to me. So it's not going to be like, holy shit, that came out of left field. It's going to be like, this is amazing. I can't wait to watch. So if you want to watch it in real time, go look at my Instagram. I'm showing you how I do it. So So I also did this before I launched the Powerful Personal Brand the first time. I started talking about power, I started talking about personal branding, and I started talking about how my story and my brand has been evolving. And I talked about that for many weeks before I came up to the actual launch of this thing. So everybody who joined was like, well, yeah, this makes sense. Nobody was tracking and being like, interesting, But if you know someone really well and they're using this technique, you can kind of guess what they're coming up with. This is why I love doing sometimes for my master classes, like a pre-sale with no information, because the people who really know me, they can get the hints. They know what's coming up. So it's just a fun thing I do. But just remember, what you're posting throughout the weeks is based on our week's theme. And of course, as always, if you have questions, jump into Voxer. I'm happy to explain.